My name is Lynn Fitzpatrick, and I am a student of the Bachelor of Arts program with College for America at Southern New Hampshire University, and I am conducting this interview as part of my academic work. With your consent, I will record this interview and use the information in a Government NU deliverable that I am working on for the Contribute to Society project. The interview will be used to create this Government NU and submitted to College for America so that my project can be evaluated. This recording will only be used solely for this purpose. The interview information will be temporarily stored in the College for America online evaluation system, to which only the evaluator and College for America staff will have access. Do you have any questions today?
I don't.
And do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded?
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
I, Jean Zelensky, give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the student's academic work.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded?
I do. I, Richard Fitzpatrick, give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the student's academic work.
Great. So, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Do you give your consent to be interviewed and recorded?
Yes. I, Connor Fitzpatrick, give my informed consent to participate in this interview to be recorded and used as part of the student's academic work.
Great. Like I said, Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name a third party?
Libertarians, which they believe in smaller government. I also know of the Green Party, and they believe more environmental, social justices,
Perfect.
Yep.
And what is the basic process by which a bill might become a law?
A bill. It's either a citizen or group or someone from either the House of Representatives or from the Senate. They propose a bill on the floor. Either the Senate starts it and then they send it up to or down to the House, however you want to look at it, or vice versa. And if they both agree, then it gets sent to the president, and he either writes it into law, or if he doesn't like it, he vetoes it.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
What are the three branches of government?
Judicial, executive, and legislative.
And what does each branch do?
So legislative crafts the law, makes the law. Executive administers the law. And judicial, defines the law.
Okay. Democrats and Republicans are the major parties that we always hear about and talk about. Can you name a third party?
Libertarians.
And what do they basically do, libertarians?
I see them as free, I don't want to say free staters, but individual rights. Mostly, it's kind of their basic thing. This is, people have a lot more freedoms.
Okay. Like I said, I'm working on a Government NU project, and I'd like to ask you 4 questions pertaining to the government. First one is, what are the 3 branches of government?
The 3 branches of government are the legislative, judiciary, and executive.
And what do each branch do?
The judiciary is the court system. The legislative passes bills and that sort of thing, and the executive is more of the president and his staff.
Great. And Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. What other party is there?
There's the Independent Party.
Okay. And what does the Independent Party do? I don't know. Well, what does a Democratic do, or Republican, or why are there 3? And only 3? Is there more than 3?
I don't know.
Okay. And what is the basis by which a bill becomes a law?
The bill has to go through the Senate and Congress, and then it will be passed on to the president, and if he vetoes, then it has to go back down to the Congress and the Senate to be revoted on or revised.
And then what happens?
And then they send it back to the president, and if he accepts, it becomes a law.
Is it government? The three branches of government are the legislative branch, where the Congress makes the laws, which is broken down into either the Senate or the House of Representatives. Executive branch, which carries out the laws, is by the president, the cabinet, and vice president. The judiciary branch interprets the laws, and they are made up of the Supreme Court or the federal courts. What does each branch of government do? Why are there three branches? How are the three branches connected? Three branches of government are connected because they protect all of Americans. They regulate each other by checks and balances. Power is separated and shared, for they can check on each other's branches, actions, or the other branches of their own actions. As you can see here in this diagram, the three branches of U.S. government all pertain to the Constitution of the United States. Democrats and Republicans are the major parties. Can you name a third party? There are several different parties. There is the Democrat and the Republican Party. There is the Libertarian Party, the all-inclusive Progressive Party, the Socialist Party, as well as they are all basically intertwined into the Independent Party. I'm going to discuss the Libertarian Party, which is the Green Party that promotes civil liberties, non-interventionism, and shrinking the size and scope of government, which can also be called an independent. The two-party system started in 1796, but was known as the Federalists of 1796, as well as the Democratic Republicans. The Federalists were in favor of the Constitution and were solid supporters of the federal administration. The Democratic Republican Committee were committed to extending the revolution to ordinary people. They were often referred to as the Republicans, which were more diverse, where the Federalists were wealthy and carried more prestige. The impact that the third parties hold is that they are there and sometimes they do win. The major parties dominate voting in most elections. However, they did at one point hold up to 600 offices. The rules for ballot, debate, and election structure usually hold the third party back. Due to this, it's so much harder for them to be on a wider stage. What is the basic process by which a bill becomes a law? A bill becomes a law by anyone sending it to a member of Congress, which is shown here, so that they can introduce it into legislation. Then they become the sponsor of the bill. As the bill is introduced, it is referred to a committee where it is examined. If the committee does not act on it, then it is considered dead. Sometimes bills are referred to subcommittees for hearings. These hearings are to provide the views of support or non-support of bills. When hearings are completed, subcommittees can meet and mark up the bill, which is to make or change or to add things to the bill, for bringing it to the full committee. If the committee then votes for the bill, it is brought to the floor. However, the subcommittee votes not to report to legislation to the full committee when it dies. After the subcommittee's full report, the committee votes on its recommendations to the House or Senate, which is called ordering a bill reported. As the debates and approvals of the amendment, it is voted on or either passed or defeated by the members of the House of Senate. When the House of Senate passes a bill, it goes to the other chamber for voting and follows the same route through the committee or subcommittee, and then floor action where they can change it, reject it, receive it, change it, or ignore it. When the last chamber alters the bill significantly, a conference committee is formed to make compatible with the changes put in place. Both chambers of the House of Representatives and the Senate have to approve this change, again before passing it through the final action of the President for his signature. The President has 10 days to sign the bill, where it will automatically become law. If the President opposes the bill, he can veto it, Then it goes back to the Congress to make an attempt to override the veto with a 2/3 majority. The president veto is overruled and it becomes a law. However, it can die if the Congress has adjourned its second session, which would be a pocket veto, and legislation would die. Checks and balances is from the Constitution, which gives each branch specific powers to make sure no one branch would be able to control too much power. It has also created separation of powers. Some of these are: legislative makes the laws, the president is in the executive branch, which can veto any law made. Legislative branch makes the laws, but the judicial branch can declare it unconstitutional. The judicial branch can interpret the laws. However, the president can nominate Supreme Court justices, Court of Appeal judges, and also district judges. That would be more for the checks and balances of the parties. The two-party system is either made up of Democrats or Republicans. The third party, independent, Green, or Tea Party, whatever you want to call them, really doesn't have an impact on the elections. Campaign endorsements, funding, usually go to the other two major parties. The third party is considered spoilers because they have to take votes away from other candidates from the major two parties. They act like barometers of change in the political area since they push their agendas and make major parties consider their demands. I hope you enjoyed my seminar on government and you today. Have a wonderful day.